Yo, what's going on, YouTube? We are back. Another episode of the My Team podcast here at Broth Cindy. I uploaded a video earlier, I guess last weekend, sharing my thoughts for roughly 30 minutes. And I mentioned that I was going to try and get Harry on the pod, and we were able to make it work out. So, Harry, I'm going to introduce you by saying, welcome back. And I'm going to just kind of stay quiet for a while because in our pre recording Discord, Harry said he had a few things he wanted to get off of his chest regarding my team and where it's at right now. So, Harry, how are you, sir? And the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's great to be back on the podcast. I think it's kind of funny that I feel like this is going to be the most heated podcast. There's so many things Jan and I are just very frustrated about in the game, and it's funny that it's taken us this long to do the podcast. But I've been sick, and so many things have been going on. But it's good to finally be back. I guess to get right into it, I just kind of wanted to begin by saying that, in my opinion, I think these past 2-3 weeks, whatever it's been, I think, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this too, I think it's been the most destructive 3 weeks in my team history. And when I say that, I mean destructive in the sense of goodwill with their audience and the fan base. Because I was kind of thinking today, I remember, going back to the end of season 4 with All-Star Weekend. I remember that I think it might have been the Tuesday promo where we weren't really getting that many exciting things, and All-Star Weekend was coming around the corner during the weekend. And this is supposed to be their biggest promo all year, the most fun, hyped up promo. And I remember, Jan, you were getting a little worried. You're saying, oh, I don't know what they're doing here. It's supposed to be a good promo, and we're not really getting a lot going on during the week. And I was like, you know what? I'm normally the one that's bashing 2K. I'm the one that's very pessimistic. I'm they're not gonna make it right or whatever. But I said, and you can recall that I said this, I was like, you know what? 2K has done such a phenomenal job this season and the season before that they've built up this goodwill that I don't think they've ever had with 2K, where for the first time it's not that I was confident that they were going to make it right, because I didn't think that there was anything wrong. I was confident that they had a plan and that they were going to do right by us, and that all of this was going to work out by the end, and the weekend was going to come and everything was going to be good. But it's insane to me that I don't even know, it's been 2 or 3 weeks. In those 2 or 3 weeks, all that goodwill that 2K has built up, and I was so happy that we had, has completely been smashed, because now I'm at a point where I'm so frustrated with what's going on, and based on these past couple weeks and how they've kind of given us content, I have no faith and I have no goodwill that this is going to turn around. And I'll get into all the problems in a bit, but I feel like this is the state of the game going forward, and I don't know how. I don't think they're gonna really make things better. So it's amazing to me that this has been the most destructive weeks, in the sense that all the goodwill and all the no, I wouldn't say optimism, but all the hope and the goodwill I had in the game to make an enjoyable game, not just for the people who spend money, but for the people who actually go no money spent, that to grind the game, has completely just been shattered. So yeah, that's my little preamble I wanted to do to kind of begin the podcast.
Okay, and we're gonna touch on all these promos that have been coming out, but I think before we do so, I kind of wanted to, as a follow-up to what I did in the beginning of the podcast episode that I just uploaded, I wanted to hear what your final grade is for Season 4. For those of you that listen to our Season 4, roughly 75% of the way into Season 4 podcast, we gave our grades. Harry and I believe, both gave Season 4 an A up through Lunar New Year. And the last week of Season 4 featured the All-Star promo, the aforementioned All-Star promo that Harry was talking about. So, Harry, from a letter grade of an A, I'm assuming it has dropped. My question is, how much has your Season 4 grade dropped?
Yeah, it's hard because I thought season 4 was so good for such a long time. Everything was good. The rewards were good. We were getting so many free cards. Jan didn't even buy anyone from the player market because
Yeah.
his team was consistently changing, which is great. Just from playing the game, I thought the grinds were really fun. The Larry Bird was good. All the rewards were great. I think. And I made the comment before in the last podcast that unlike the Kobe grind, which was such a big negative, it kind of outshined all the smaller positives. I felt like in season 4, the little negatives I had, like maybe the Inferno grind, and there were a couple other things. I felt that the positives were so much bigger and so much stronger that for me it totally outshined the negatives, which is why it had an A. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is kind of hard because I don't know. The All-Star weekend, you can say it's kind of smaller in the sense that like we had a really good and strong season leading up to this. But at the same time, like this should be the best promo of the year. I think this is when
Yeah.
you should be trying to get more people onto the game and make it more exciting. And I think there's always so much hype with the All-Star weekend. You know, I remember talking with Jan about some of the older 2Ks like 2K16 and 17, how there's so much fun around the All-Star weekend. And I felt like they turned it, what could have been such a fun event, into such a money hungry, thing where we got nothing. Literally, the grinders got nothing. We couldn't even get players in the player market at a minimum. Like that shouldn't even be like I hope we get players in the player market. Like that should be such a bare minimum. We shouldn't have to think about that. But the fact that like they took this greed to a new level, to the point where now we're kind of hoping that cards can be in the player market so we can buy them, instead of just now where they're just put in packs and we have no chance. Like how it's so bad. Like they literally ruined All-Star weekend in the game. Like there was no excitement on the game unless you were opening packs for all the cards. Like it's disgusting what they did. So I don't know. I'm trying to be fair here. I don't want to give it like a super bad grade because they did really well. You know what I mean? Most of the season, but I'm gonna give it a B. And going from an A to a B, like that's a pretty big deal. Like I don't want to give it a
Yeah.
C because most of the season they did pretty good. But I mean, and listen, if this was a small thing, like I said before, I would not drop an A because I was so positive about the season. So the fact that okay, I'll put it like this. I would say for me, like season 4 was maybe like a 95%, or maybe like I'll give like roughly maybe like a 93 in terms of like that's my approval rating, like really good. Like so it's gonna take a lot to kind of drop that down to like a B, like an 80 maybe. So but I felt like this was so big it dropped from like an A minus to a like a low B, like 80, 81. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, I mean that's basically what I gave it. I gave it like a B minus, C plus.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I was, if anything, a little more critical just because, I haven't, to your point, bought anyone from the player market in a while, and I was pretty vocal, at least with you, Harry, about how I was waiting to get guys like Galaxy Opal Shea and Galaxy Opal LeBron, and it was very easy to predict that those are the cards that we were getting because that's how my team has been doing their All-Star promo over the last handful of years, I guess, where like last year all the All-Star starters were opals or dark matters, I guess. I forgot how exactly they did it, but basically the cards that were All-Star starters got really good cards, and we expected the same kind of thing now. And I guess for me it was just frustrating that, to me, the epitome of All-Star promo in NBA 2K24 my team this year, the epitome of it was getting 3 Galaxy Opal Damian Lillard cards, all special insert only. Not one of them in a locked code, not one of them, as an agenda. We had to rip packs, and those packs were the only way to get these cards. So
Yeah, and I mean it's upsetting to me because I said before in the last podcast that the one thing I want the most from my team is I want my team to make I want my team to enhance the NBA, and I want the NBA to enhance my team. It should work both ways, where you're playing my team and you're excited about the NBA,
yeah,
and you're watching NBA and you're excited about playing 2K. So I think that's why I love All-Star Weekend, because I think it's a lot of fun that you can watch these events and the 3-point contest and the dunk contest and who's going to get All-Star MVP and all these different things, and see how that translates into the game that we love. So the fact that they took away all this excitement for like what should be the most fun time all year, it's disappointing. Like it really is. Like I might not seem that negative about it just because the stuff I'm kind of gearing myself up to talk about things that I'm much more negative about, but it's a shame because like if they just gave us cards in the player market, like the bare minimum, if they just gave us people in the player market, we would have been hating on that because that's lazy in my opinion. The fact that they couldn't give us anything exciting besides just players in the player market, and the fact that they took that and they just made it so much worse. The fact that like we can't even buy them and now they're only in packs, like nothing, like. I think we disagree. I wouldn't say disagreed. We had a little disagreement in the last podcast where I think that I believe, in my opinion, that every promo should have something for everybody. I think even if it's like, something is small, even if it's not like balanced really. Like a good example would be the dynamic duo thing, where people who spent money got the first Opal dynamic duo with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, and the people who just grind the game, they're not going to spend money, they could get a cool, fun little dynamic duo with Kobe and Shaq or LeBron and Wade. I think every promo should have something for everybody. There was nothing for people who did not spend money on the game. Like that's unacceptable, and it's disgusting. No, it should not be like that. Like, and they're kind of just shooting themselves in the left foot, because like they had a chance to make the game exciting for people to come back on and play, and there's so much bad will and so much negativity around the game because like starting from that one promo alone, that like less people want to play the game, less content creators are positive about the game because of that. So I don't get what they're doing. Like they're just, I get that they're able to make a quick buck and make good, like a little bit of money during these weekends, but what's the turnaround when less people want to play the game because of it? Like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I think that's all very well said. I completely agree. And I guess we can, now transition from season 4 into, that negative thing that you do want to talk about. And I'm just assuming here, we didn't talk about this earlier, but I'm assuming the main negative thing you want to talk about are these Friday promos and how we've had these Galaxy Opals and 100 rated cards over the last 3 Fridays be special insert only. Am I correct? Is that the main negative thing that you want to talk about?
Yeah. I mean, it's so bad. I think before in other podcasts when I'm negative and stuff like that, I try to be funny. I try to articulate things as best as I can. But I think if I sound so like down, or I'm just like at a loss for words, I don't even know how to I don't even know how to I don't know where to begin, because this is the worst my team has ever seen in terms of greed, money hunger, and just what we're getting. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, starting with the fact that we're only getting opals in the pack market. Like it's terrible. Like I don't care even if the idea is okay, the people who spend money get these cards first, and then maybe a week or two later that's when they're in the player market for even like a reduced price. That's unacceptable. There should not be that big of an advantage for people who spend money on the game. There shouldn't be. Like if you want to just give us cards and put them in the pack market and not give us free cards, like that's even better than what they're doing now, just not even giving us the opportunity. Like I don't even want to play. Like I made there's no point of even getting into this because there's so many different things. But like I'm barely even playing on my real MyTeam account now, because I feel like what's the point? Like I'm gonna grind for MT just so there's like, who am I gonna spend my MT on? There's nothing. Like Jan was so hyped up to buy these players from the player market to have even one upgrade, and we can't even do that. It's impossible. Like it's I hated the Kobe promo so much because I felt like there's so many different reasons, but at least there was like a point percentage possibility that maybe a grinder who plays like every day could afford Kobe. It's impossible to have these cards, like literally impossible unless you're spending money. Like it's terrible. Like it makes me not want to play the game. And I was so positive about everything they're doing, and now I don't even want to play the game, or especially on my real account, because I've had so much MT, and like what's the point? So everything they're doing right now is so bad, and they're creating such negativity and bad will with their fan base. And I think it's ridiculous that like they're showing now how much of a fuck up this player market is, because it's like the fact that it's bad for everybody. It's bad for the players. And listen, I agree with Jan. I know we talked about this before. The player market could be good, and it could be better than the auction house. I agree with that. The way they set this up is not better than the auction house. I would take the auction house over this any day of the week. So the fact that this system that they currently have is not good for the fans, and it's not good for the player base, and it's not good for 2K, because obviously they're forced to do these kind of promos because they're losing out money with this player market. Like it's laughable that it's bad for everybody. It's a lose-lose. Like they didn't know, they had an idea for a player market. It's kind of like the draft. They have an idea for the draft and they don't know how to execute, and it's laziness. They don't want to put in the work to figure out what's the best way to do it. And I'm sure, like we always talk about and joke about, I'm sure next year we're going to get the auction house back, and instead of trying to spend time focusing on, all right, how can we make this player market the best it could be, how can we make it better, they're just going to scrap it because it's laziness, and they don't know what they're doing. And it's such a joke. It's like it's terrible. Like there's so many cards that I was excited about, like getting the KD and all these different cards, and the fact that we can't get it and the money spenders now have the advantage, it's never been this bad. And I mean, the 100 overall thing, It's so I think that frustrates me the most. I mean, like we always talk about that. Like I love the beginning of 2K more than I'm in the minority. Most I feel like most people on Twitter or X or whatever it is, they love the end of 2K where everyone has the best SIGs and the best stats, and there's literally nothing that will differentiate any card in the game because it's the same card. I hate that. It's boring.
Yeah.
I'm just ready for the new 2K to come out. So I love the beginning of the year where you get to slowly pace everything out. And I think they did such a good job. I even said to Jan, I was like, I'm so impressed that despite all the criticism on the pacing, the unjustified criticism on the pacing, they've kept it going. And this, it's like, they just took pacing and they threw it out the window. I mean, it's not even like they skipped opals and they're going to dark matters. They literally did 100 overalls. Like it's so stupid and I just hate it. Like if we got 100 overalls even in the last month of 2K, I would have hated it because it's stupid. I mean, like, and like none of it makes any sense. Like there's some of these 100, like the KG, he doesn't even have all 99 overall stats, and he's
Yeah.
100 over. Like it's such a bona fide scam. And it's funny. I was talking to a friend the other day about how dumb games like Madden Mobile are, and all these different games that do mobile games that do 100 overall. It's stupid. Like it, and the fact that we're getting this now before, as we're just beginning to get, we don't even have an opal in the player market, and we're getting 100 overalls. And not only are we getting 100 overalls, but only people who spend money can get them. And I don't care if you say, oh, it's super rare to get 100 overalls. It doesn't matter. It's still such a lopsided thing that we should not be getting 100 overalls in February. We shouldn't be getting 99 overalls in February. There shouldn't be a shooting Shaq or a small forward Kevin Garnett. Like they should not be doing this. They're ruining this game. Like I don't care if it's a 1% chance of getting the Shaq or the Kevin Garnett. It makes me not want to play the game because even if I have 1% chance of running into someone online who has a small forward KG or a shooting Shaq or opals that I can't get, I don't like it. It just makes me not want to play it because it's cards that are impossible for me to have. So it's not fun. I like to have a chance. It's nice. And this goes back to what I said last podcast. I don't want every card for free. I don't. It's like on the other side of the boat. I don't like when they give out a free T-Mac that you can grind for. But on the other side, I don't want cards that are impossible. There should be a fair balance that they're not finding. And both of them equally. I mean, I would say this probably sucks more, but both of them suck because if you're telling me that these are cards that I can't have, then it's just I don't want to play. Like it's just not. It's like there's such a high ceiling that it's impossible for me to reach. So I was so positive about the game, and I felt like these couple weeks have been so destructive to where it's like I'm not excited about the game, and I have no faith that they're gonna make this right. Every week we've gotten 100 overall, and it seems like that's what they're doing before we even get to 99. I don't even know what else to say. Like I'm talking in circles because it's so frustrating and annoying, and you know, I mean, Jan and I have talked about for a while that this will likely be our last 2K. I mean, they're closing that door on that one because, like, I barely want to play now. And I know I say this a lot where I don't want to get the next game, but like, this is like, there's no going back. I don't know how it could get worse. I really don't. Like, this is like they can't be more greedy. They can't be more favoring towards people spending money. And I don't care how many stupid free cards and how many bad mid-tier opal locker codes they want to give us. There's unless they're going to come out and be like, this what we do is wrong and we're not going to do this again. There's nothing they can do that's going to I don't want to say mask, but that's going to make this okay in my eyes. So at least for now, like I'm very like I don't want to really play 2K. Like I said, it's just all of this is such a turn off for me. It's sad because I said in the last podcast I want to spend these last months on 2K being able to enjoy it with Jan because I know like maybe next year we won't be having these podcasts, we won't be playing my team, but like. It's hard to even force myself to get on because I don't agree with any of this, and it's not my team that I want to play. And I was just saying in the last podcast how you could compare my team right now to any Ultimate Team mode, and now like there's nothing that could like this is the bottom tier. You can't get worse from what we have right now. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean that was a lot, but it was really good. I agree with a lot of what you said. It's all unprecedented territory. We've never seen a video game like an Ultimate Team game mode, I should say, do stuff like this that is so downright predatory. And we've blamed 2K for lying to us numerous times in the past, but I think you can argue, at least from a My Team perspective, the most egregious lie in the history of lies that My Team has ever provided us, I guess, is when they said in the very first My Team playbook update for 2K24 that the player market's purpose is to give us a way to obtain cards that were previously unobtainable, and now they're putting out cards that are unobtainable. Like, there's no way
And
to
that's the
guarantee
thing,
any hope.
that's the thing. It's like normally in a My Team blog, it's never 100% perfect. Like
Yeah.
you always have to take it with a grain of salt, but it's never this extreme. Like I will never trust a My Team playbook again. Like never. There's nothing that they can say that I will believe. But normally it's like most of the stuff they say, most of the big things they say come out to be true, and like there's probably smaller things that they say that are not going to be true. But like, how can you trust what they're saying? This player market was like their big reveal in the blog, and nothing they've said has remained true or that they've kept they've kept to. So there is not a single thing I can really believe anymore. So it's like, and that's the best example of the goodwill that they don't have. I don't trust the game anymore. So that layer alone makes you not want to play the game, because now you're into the territory of playing a game that you don't support, because you don't trust what they're doing. You know what I mean? We don't trust that they have our best interests at heart. And like normally you can joke that they don't, but I mean it's like it's beyond tone deaf, because I don't get how they have the audacity to they obviously read how the awful negative criticism on the game, and they continue doing this. Literally the same thing week after week. 2 weeks in a row, 100 overalls. 2 weeks in a row, getting cards at the player market that are only in the pack market. Like, it's not even tone deaf, because they know what they're doing is wrong, and they know that people don't like this, and they keep doing it. So it's like, how does it make sense that, like, you know what I mean, that what they're doing is creating such a negativity online that people are not going to want to play the game. So it's like what they're doing, it doesn't make sense. And I think the player market was the best example that they don't know what they're doing. They're screwing themselves week after week after week, where they should be trying to take stuff like All-Star Weekend, where people like I'm not going to put on the same level as like the Super Bowl, but you're going to get the people who don't watch NBA normally that are going to be watching the All-Star Weekend, like because the 3-point contest is cool, the dunk contest is cool, so, or even the All-Star Weekend, they get to see the best players play together. That doesn't happen every day. So it's shocking to me that like they don't do the opposite, where they make it seem like My Team is like the best during these couple weeks, and then they go back to normal. Like, what sense does it make that they are having the worst few weeks ever in My Team history during the time period where they're probably getting the most eyes on the game because of all the stuff going on in the NBA that has nothing to do with their game? They're getting carried by stuff going on in the NBA world. So it's just terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think to your earlier point, I think they put the player market in the game as a way to limit those third-party sites, and I think they probably thought that they were going to be able to make more money by removing those third-party websites, and as a result, hopefully getting people to go and buy MT and VC from them. And they've clearly lost money. I mean, I talked about it in my most recent video, and a lot of other people have been talking about it over the last month or so, that the consumer earning is down 7% for Take-Two Interactive. And I mentioned it in my previous video, the first game that they mentioned in that earnings report when it comes to the largest contributors towards them losing that 7% is NBA 2K24, and they call those recurrent consumer earnings, that's defined by virtual currency. So they're literally saying VC sales are down, we're down 7%, and I clearly think this is a panic move. Harry, I mentioned in the video that I just uploaded that the fiscal year for Take-Two, it ends March 31st, 2024. And so I predicted that we're going to see these promos, and not just these promos. I don't know if you've been looking at the pack market at all, but if not, I'm happy for you. Don't look. But we've been getting these pretty lackluster special limited time packs, like the Zach LaVine one that we were talking about earlier this week. I think we're going to see that for the entirety of the month of March, and maybe then it'll stop. if that
Right?
does come
I
true,
said to you, I said every day, and if maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like every day there's a new thing in my team that's made with the sole purpose of making money. Like
yeah,
every day, it's insane. Like
yeah,
it's so they're making it obvious that how bad their earnings are doing that they have to do this. Like they're like it's terrible.
yeah. So if that were to happen, if the rest of the month is going to be like what we've been getting over the last 3 weeks, how do you feel like that's gonna? I mean, not just affect you. I think it's very obvious that you're just, this is like a, over the last 3 weeks, it's been like a flat out F grade for my team when
Yeah.
it comes to your opinion
Yeah.
on it. Where do you think the community will stand in a month if we get more of the same until the end of March?
Yeah, I don't know because I'm in the minority. I feel like I'm mostly in the minority of terms of like I don't want the game to be just demigods on the court, and I think a lot of people do. And I feel like what's limiting the people are the fact that these players are not in the player market. Like I feel like if these people were in the player market, I feel like most of the community would be okay with it
Mm-hmm.
because they love the idea of having these OP builds. But it's the fact that they're only in the pack market, they're like screwing everybody over. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
think if they put 100 overalls in the player market for like ridiculous MT amounts, even if they were limited, I feel like a lot of people would be positive about it just because oh, the pacing is finally over and now they can enjoy the game. But it's the fact that they're doing none of that. You're pissing off the people who want this that sort of pacing, and they're pissing off the people who don't. So there's no win. So I think if they keep doing this without putting these people in the player market, and I like for me alone, if they just keep doing this at all, I'm gonna keep getting angrier and angrier. I don't care if they put these 100 overalls in the player market or not. It's ridiculous. But I think you're gonna continuously see people like me who are quitting the game. I wouldn't say quitting the game, but like who are less and less. They're gonna be wanting to play every week because like now that they're doing these 100 overalls, what is there to look forward to? Because like they're not like that's the whole thing about pacing. It's like I get that it's fun to use these players who have OP stats, but you get them in April or March or February, and now what? You have nothing to look forward to the end of the year. So I think 2K will only continue to lose money because now they're giving us less and less to look forward to later on in the year. And I think the community, we're going to get more fed up over just the greed and the ridiculousness of what's going on. So I think it'll be interesting. I think, and I made the point earlier to Jan a while ago, I think this was the first year with taking out the auction house where we saw a lot of people who weren't like higher end YouTuber, like the lower tier content creators quit the game. And that's like almost unheard of in the game. It's normally the people like Jesser or even on a lower scale, the HTBs and all those people who are playing my team less and less because they have such high audiences that they can do more stuff outside of my team and get views, whether it's on 2K or not. Like HTB will post 2K, but he doesn't have to post on my team. But this is the first year we've seen a lot of smaller end content creators who like the auction house. They did this and that. They quit the game. So I have a feeling that is going to keep going. I think this year, when we look back as a whole at 2K24, unless we see real changes, or even if they maybe bring back the auction house next year, I think this will be the biggest decline in people playing my team ever in terms of like the lower end people, the casuals and the lower end content creators.
yeah, I completely agree. I think that was all really good. Just so that we
Yeah.
don't keep the podcast completely negative, is there anything that we've gotten so far in season 5 that does interest you? I know we talked a little bit about the Rush agenda set when it came out on Tuesday, and I know you weren't as, I don't even want to say that I was bullish, but you were definitely not that interested in it at all. And I understand your logic in case you want to share it again. But is there anything else from season 5 that interests you? And really quick, before I give it to you, just to name a few things: level 40 James Harden, the Moses Malone being the new Larry Bird or Hakeem Olajuwon, I guess, for season 5, Chris Middleton being the new Michael Redd. Any of these things that I mentioned excite you at all in season 5?
Yeah, I mean, I love Harden in 2K, and I think Harden in any other season would have been a lot of fun. But I think the fact that there's so many, like, I want to be excited about it, but I think the fact that there's already so many better opals that the people who spend money on can access and get their hands on, it makes you not even care about the Harden. I think Harden would have been a cool reward even if we were getting these opals in the player market, but the fact that we're not, it makes me not even care. I think like I'm sure Middleton's good. I'm sure Moses Malone is good, but I think like to go from Larry Bird and I guess Michael Redd doesn't really count because he's not that exciting. But I think to go from Larry Bird to like Moses Malone, like you know what I mean. I feel like it's an exciting. You're going from arguably the great. I can't say that, but like top two, top three small forward of all time, Larry Bird to Moses Malone. Like it's kind of drop in excitement. I'm sure the card's good, but I always kind of look at like the player, not really the stats. Like if it's an exciting player.
Sure.
Um, I mean, listen, it's not terrible. I just think that like I don't know. This season, what we're getting in addition to the Opals being in the player market, minusing the 100 overalls would have been fine. Because I like the consistency of doing the stuff like the Moses Malone. And because I talked about it last season, I love the format of being able to play any game mode you want and then maximizing that by getting the Moses Malone.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's great. And I made the point a couple podcasts ago. I'm like, I'm sure they won't even stick with that. So I'm glad they're sticking with this because it's far more superior than what they were doing before.
Definitely.
But like, it's like I said about Kobe. These are such small positives now compared to the bigger negatives that are like looming over the game.
Mhm.
And I mean, on another smaller scale negative that I don't really like, I hate these agendas for getting these free deluxe packs. I find them so like they're so tedious. Like you especially like I made a new MyTeam account just for the fun of it, and it's you to do all these agendas that require not players but players on different teams for you to get a deluxe pack that like you could get an emerald in. Like I think they got to make it easier and more accessible. And then the other big negative I really don't like is what is the stadium called that you can get?
Oh, the My Team
Colossal?
Coliseum.
Yes, I will say the idea I think is really cool because I'm a big like sports. That's not really the best way to put it. I'm a big like live event fan. Like I love wrestling, I love NBA, NFL, all these sports, and like the crowd is obviously such a big component of it. And I think wrestling has kind of implemented in my mind the importance of having these big crowds and how much energy it can really put in a game. I mean, look at Madison Square Garden. Look at the Knicks. I mean, you cannot tell me that you were watching Knicks playoffs in Madison Square Garden and you were thinking like, I don't want to play for the Knicks in the NBA. Like it was so exciting, so much fun. So I think it's so cool that we can get a stadium that has 60,000 people in it. I think that's awesome. But they always have to add, and I like the idea that you have to do so many different agendas from all walks of life in my team. But again, they always have to add in that like layer of just of greed. Like we should not have to have 1,000 cards in my team. I think it's ridiculous, especially for me who I just made a new account. And a lot of people are like, I know I'm a bad example because I didn't have to make a new account, but this is around the time of winter break, Christmas, and all these different times where people are getting the game on sale and they're getting the game. To have 1,000 cards and to like reinforce it, I think is very lame, and it makes me not as excited for it. I think it could have been cool if they focused on getting certain wins in like every game mode or something like that. But they always have to add in that layer of just like it's such a my team casino thing that people always talk about, and and also I want to make one more point because I feel like we're kind of coming to an end. And as much as like Jan and I will kind of diss on DBG for his takes, I mean he was spot on with this. He said that the whole first half of the year was going to be pacing for people like Jan and I who love that. We were going to get to enjoy the game, and then with no hesitation off the rip, we were going to jump into this predatory, awful thing where there's no like sense of like, all right, we're gonna what's the word? There's no like we're gonna go right into it. There's no progression. It's gonna go right into this money hunger, and that's what we're getting. So it's sad. I mean, I guess I'm happy in a sense. I got to enjoy the first half of the year, but like I have no excitement for the second half. Like at least normally, I was hoping that with how good they were doing at pacing, that this would continue until like maybe the last couple months of 2K where they would start pumping up 99s and all that stuff, and that's when I would probably start like getting less excited. But the fact that they're doing this in February, we had February, March, April, May, June. We had another 5 or 6 months left of the game, and like we're already like halfway in, and we people like us have to spend a second half of the game where we're unhappy with the product. Like it's bad. I don't see this getting better. I mean they've gone so low in greed and what they're doing that like I don't know how they're going to go up. Like I think throughout the year they've slowly made leaps into crossing that line, but they haven't really crossed it. They've gone so over that line that yeah, I really think they're like too far gone at this point. I don't know how they bounce back from this.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very, very interesting to see. I think in conclusion, in closing, the one question I want to ask you now, because we've kind of talked about, the future, we've talked about the president, how it's not in a really, really good state. On a much like smaller, more micro level, there's something very interesting that could be happening in the NBA today. Lakers play the Nuggets tonight, and LeBron, I believe, is 10 points away from getting 40,000 points. Now, I shared my prediction earlier. I'm in a previous video that I uploaded earlier today. I'm not going to say what I said in that video until I hear what you say. What do you think 2K is going to do to celebrate LeBron hitting 40,000 points tonight?
I mean, like, based on, well, I'm going to tell you two things. I'm going to tell you what, if I were in charge, what I would want, and I'll tell you what I think they're going to do. I'll tell you what I want, and this is what I think goes back to everyone should get something. Like, I remember in 2K18, they gave, I forget why, but they gave, they were two Shaqs that they put out in the game. They gave us a Diamond Shaq that was like the All-Star Weekend Shaq that can like dribble. He can not really speed boost, but it's like that magic All-Star like meme Shaq that can like dribble and do all that fun stuff. And then they gave an Amethyst Shaq, and the Amethyst Shaq was for free. People who just they didn't want to spend the money on Diamond Shaq. That to me was like a perfect promo because you're giving everyone something. Like, yeah, obviously the Diamond Shaq is significantly better than the Amethyst, and he should be, rightfully so. But at least you're giving the people who don't spend money on the game something. Yeah. So if it were me and what I want, this is not going to happen. But this is what I want for the people. I'd want them to give us an Opal LeBron for getting this big milestone, put him in the player market for people who want to spend packs, or people who have MT like Jan and I, who would maybe want to buy him with their hard-earned MT, and then give us a pink diamond LeBron agenda for people who can get the LeBron for free. Won't be nearly as good as the Opal, should not be nearly as good. You can give him less. You can give him a slower shot, whatever, less Hall of Fame badges, bad SIGs, whatever you want to do, but give a free pink diamond LeBron. I think that'd be perfect. I don't know what they could do better, but here's what I think they're going to do. It seems like they're just going to continue this trend of greed. They're going to give us an Opal LeBron that's not going to be in the player market, only going to be in packs, and they're just gonna, they're just going to keep slowly burning off the remaining people who actually play the game.
Yeah, so that's kind of like what I said. I thought they were going to give us a string of LeBron-based challenges for like a badge pack, like a Hall of Fame badge pack. And then I would not be shocked if now next Friday, because if you look at the players we've gone, these 100 rated players, right? We have Shaq and Kareem. They're both power forward.
Oh my God! Do not tell me we're gonna get 100 LeBron.
We're gonna get a 100 LeBron who's point guard eligible
in February.
Because we need a shooting guard and a point guard. I feel like they're gonna try and give us a starting 5 of 100s. So I could see that on the screen. You can't see this now, Harry, but you'll be able to see it when I upload this video. Someone put a pretty cool concept of like a ball drop locker code with 6 different LeBrons that you can get on it. One of them including the Opal. That would be really cool. Like I was mentioning it, like if they did this, it'd be cool.
There's no way we get
shot. Like even if they just.
Do you agree though? Do you agree though? What I said is the most fair thing that they could do. Give us an Opal in the player market and give everyone like a free pink diamond LeBron.
I mean, I think that would be totally fair. I just don't see them doing that.
A better pink diamond LeBron than like the one we got, the Series 2, whatever. There's so many things that they could do to make it fun, or give us, I don't know. But you know what I mean? The fact that if they give us 100 overall LeBron, I'm gonna be pissed. Like that's the best example of you're taking away. Like, what's the point then? Because then now we didn't even get an Opal LeBron and a Dark Matter LeBron in the player market. Why care about them if we're getting 100 LeBrons? That doesn't even have what's the difference between 100 overall LeBron and a 99 overall LeBron? There's no difference because it's not like they have 100 overall stats. Yeah. So like what? It's a scam. Like this is the definition of a scam.
Yeah, I mean the only way they could really make a difference is if they change his position eligibility, which is what I'm afraid of. If we get
it'll be like point guard, small forward, or whatever they want to do.
But that's what I was implying. Yeah, that we're gonna get a point guard eligible LeBron James on Friday, which I would not be shocked about. But I mean,
I'll be angry.
I think I know. I mean, I think
I just hate
regardless.
this. Like they're just ruining the game. Like I don't know what they're doing. I
I
don't.
mean, they're
If
clearly only doing this for money. Again, I really feel like this
But
is just.
why? But I get that, but it's they can make their little quick term money, but when they're shitting on the fan base and people are not wanting to play the game, I haven't seen one positive comment about what they're doing. You can't. Like if you're being positive about what they're doing, then you're delusional. I haven't seen anything. It's impossible to turn this into a positive. So it's like they are so turning off their fan base. They're not only making people not want to play 2K25, but I mean, like, unless I bet in their minds, they're like, listen, we're going to bring back the auction house in 2K25, and that'll bring everybody back in the game. So for now, let's burn them out and make as much money as we can. I get that's probably what they're thinking. I wouldn't be surprised. But like, it's sad. It
Yeah.
really is. I was so high about the pacing, and now like they're literally ruining the game.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, I mean, my theory, because there are so many theories and there's no, like, substantial evidence that I can give to support it, but I just feel like the only evidence that we do have is I feel like everything changed in this game when the earnings report came out and they were down 7% with the recurrent consumer earnings. And that's why I would not be shocked if, we're never going to know this, but if the higher ups at Take-Two, who's the parent company for 2K, said, hey, we need you guys to make a change. This game is our cash cow right now. GTA 6 is not out yet. GTA 5 online has been out for 10 plus years, and we have no other games right now. I mean, no one's playing Red Dead 2 online right now.
But you know what? How how is it brain science to figure out that would be the case when they're doubling the MT that we can make from just playing the game, and they for the most part they're taking out the random ability from my team where you could just buy these cards instead of just opening packs. Like this game overall is probably the best we've ever seen in terms of like there really isn't that much besides these opals that are only in the pack market, but they really took out a big portion of the game, like the gambling out of the game, where it used to be, oh, like Pink Diamond LeBron came out, I'm gonna spend a million VC, pay for a million VC and hope I get him. In terms of spending $70 and getting him just right there. So how do they not realize that obviously they're gonna lose money when they're increasing the amount? Like I had like Jan is like 4 million MT in the game.
Yeah.
That's unheard of almost from just playing the game without sniping. So it's like how did they not figure out that this would happen when they're increasing the amount of MT you get just from playing the game, and they're taking out a good deal of good gambling from the game, and you could just buy the players with VC. Like it's common sense. So obviously, like it's so dumb to me that they not only like fucked themselves over, but they screwed out their entire community because no one likes this player market, like the current state of what we have right now.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, still, like, my issue right now isn't even the player market. My issue is that the player market's not being used. Like, we're only getting pink diamonds.
No, but it's not a perfect, like, it could be a lot better.
No, of course, it could definitely be a lot better, but I haven't used the player market in a month because we haven't gotten any players worth picking up in a month. Like, we have all these opals.
But it's not even a problem because of the higher end cards, but also the fact that there is, like, when they do, like, because budget cards are so meaningless now, like, when they, if let's say opals are the current tier of cards that they're putting out in packs because of how the game flows and because of how inaccessible these not inaccessible, because of how like highly priced the budget cards are, it doesn't matter what the tier below is. So if opals are the current meta in the game, no matter what pink diamond or ruby or amethyst or diamond they put in the game, it doesn't mean anything because now they're just overly priced cards that why would you waste it's not only why would you buy them, but why would you buy them when you can't even resell them for the same empty back instead of just buying or saving up for the current meta of tiers. You know what I mean? So it's like that's why it's like there's no point of using the player mark because if you're not getting the higher end cards, you're not going to be using it at all because you're not going to be getting any tier below the current meta because you're kind of screwing yourself over in doing so because of how the player market is like it's formulated.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one thing that I hope that they do see is the lack of engagement on the player market now that all these top end cards are special insert only. I feel like the most engagement they got on the player market in these last 3 weeks was, so I don't know if you saw, but the pink diamond Nate Robinson is only 63,000 MT, and there's an exchange currently.
Well, I know I pulled him from the pack and had to quick sell him for like very low.
But there's an exchange for And it does make sense why they would make him. They probably put him in packs, made him the cheapest to buy, so that he's even less
Literally the
MT.
week before the Wild West, the Pink Diamond Finley had a quick sell of like 60K, and this one had like a very low quick sell. It was like 24K. So it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense what
No,
they're doing.
because he's the only card I think that's sub 100K, and I think 2K did that to try and make it where we're gonna just jack up the odds of you packing Pink Diamond Nate Robinson, so that when you pack him, you recoup even less MT back. But they kind of messed up, and it's not even really messing up because it's not like this exchange was that good. But there's an exchange available in the game right now where you put in any leap year player, so you can go and you can buy the Nate Robinson for 63K. Then you go and you buy any Pink Diamond player, like a Pink Diamond Series 2 Shea Gilgeous-Alexander card, and then you get a deluxe pack. And the odds of getting a Pink Diamond like Nate Robinson back, sure, it's probably pretty high. But if you get an Opal from this, then I've seen a couple people on Twitter get like Opal Lonzo Ball or whoever from this, then you end up making out like a bandit. And
Well, apparently not. I opened like 15 deluxe packs on my other account. I pulled one Pink Diamond.
I don't know if those are deluxe. They have base, they have regular, and then they have deluxe. Deluxe, you can only get players from the collection.
Oh, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so the deluxe you can only get from completing the agenda or from completing the exchange. And what 2K did over this weekend, which I think is absolutely hilarious, because we've been complaining about a lot of things. The one thing people were happy about this weekend when it comes to what they gave us from the leap year is we have this exchange. It repeats every hour, the exchange that I just mentioned, and 2K made it repeat every day now. So they made it, instead of hourly, into once every 24 hours. Because they don't want people getting these cards in any other way outside of ripping packs. It's just it's not even scummy. It's honestly just sad. Like, it really is.
You
sad.
said it best. It's predatory. It really is. I mean, that's the best.
It's incredibly predatory. And again, the only reason why I feel like it's going to end in the end of March is because once the fiscal year is over and the Take-Two CEO, hopefully for him, makes enough money from everyone ripping packs like crazy over these last 3 weeks, then we can hopefully go back to some semblance of quality promos.
What? Good for them. They can do that all they want. But like I said, this has been the most destructive 2 weeks ever in my team. Because now I have no trust in what they're gonna. There's no faith in what they're gonna do or how they're gonna. It can go from a perfectly, great couple seasons and then go to this. So it's like it's not like before where like I would be angry about something in 2K and then they would turn it around and it'd be great again. They've gone to such low levels to where like I have no trust that like even if it does go back to normal, who says it won't go back to this when they need to make that quick dollar? So what they've done is so bad for goodwill with their fans. I don't think it's ever possible to get that back. It'll take like a full year, I think. This is such a bad. I mean, maybe I'm overreacting, and you can tell me, but I think this has been such. And it's not like a couple weeks because they're going to keep doing this for another couple weeks. Hopefully at a minimum or at a maximum. But these couple weeks have been so bad that it'll take a full year of not doing this again for goodwill to come back. That's how bad it is, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting here hoping that the All-Star promo where we had the 100 rated Kareem was going to be a blip on the radar. And now, as a Knicks fan, I think there's a solid chance that the Knicks get OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson back before we get 100 rated cards out of the pack market on Fridays. That's so sad. That's so sad to me, So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. All in all, I mean, I feel like we covered all the bases here. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we get on out of here, Harry?
Nope. I don't know where we go from here, but like I said, it'll take a long time before I ever regain that goodwill that they spent. You don't build goodwill in a season or even 2 seasons, but they've done a fairly decent job all year to where they built that goodwill up, and now, like, I don't even think if they do good for the rest of the year that it'll come back. It's going to take a very long. I mean, I don't even know if I'll play my team next year. Probably not, but like, I hope they know that this is the product of their decision, that it's going to take a very long time for people to really trust what they're doing again, and that's on them. So, well done 2K.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, this is definitely a gamble, obviously, on their end, to see how much of their player base can they retain while they do the predatory promos that they've been doing over the last 3 weeks and however much longer they're going to do it for. I'm totally with you, Harry. I think.
One more point. Can you see that being the case? That what I said before, that they're like, listen, like, the player market was a fuck up. We don't know how to make this good. We're just gonna bring back the auction house next season and do whatever we can now to make every penny we can, like to scratch every penny we can get from this. Do you see that being the case?
Well, definitely. I think them saying that they want to, well, them trying to make every penny back is like that process is happening right now. Like these promos, this is it. I think they will never admit that the player market was a flop.
No.
You know, they'll never do that. Could I
Like
see
they
them going
kind of
back to the auction
even by
house?
putting in the blog that they're bringing the auction house back. That's
No,
enough.
if
You know
they
what I
do
mean?
that, then yes. If they do
But
that,
it's like
it's an indictment on the
the
player
best
market.
example is when they did 2 years of the draft and each year was bad and worse than the prior one. That what did they say in the blog that like they were gonna move away from the draft and focus on bigger and better. It'll be something like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I think
they're not gonna admit it, but just them not doing the draft again or not doing the player market, they're admitting that not only that it was a screw up, but they don't know how to fix it and make it better, which is like the funny part.
yeah. I mean, I think what's different with the draft, like it's similar, but I think what's different is when you remove the draft, and you don't put anything in its place. Not only would you like if you remove the player market, you know what my big fear is they remove the player market and they don't bring back the auction house, and then my team goes straight like mobile app style where you're just getting players from packs. And I have to check. I'm not familiar with it exactly, but I think that's what Madden Mobile did. Because I think they removed the auction house.
I think they do have a player market.
They do? Okay, good. If they do, then maybe there's some hope. And I don't think they'll I think that's like extreme.
That would kill it. That would be the final nail in the coffin. Like
definitely.
Which like I can't see them doing that. That would be insane.
But I mean, after what they've done these last 3 weeks, you can't rule anything out. I agree that's a very extreme conclusion. I just
need to turn that into a positive. You can at least with the player market, you can bullshit and be like, oh, it's going to be better than ever, and it's the higher cards are never going to be more affordable than like how you can't even turn the player market. It'd be hard to do that and turn that into a fake win,
Yeah, I mean, no, absolutely. I mean, I don't know where it's going to go from here, just like you said. I mean, could they bring back the auction house next year? Sure. And I think if they do that, the only way you can look at that is 2K admitted that the player market was a failed experiment, at least the way it's currently constructed, and that it's a failed experiment in that they weren't making as much money as they hoped they would.
And the people were unhappy. Nothing good came out of it.
Yeah. It's like they got rid of the auction house thinking, well, now we're regulating the market. We're regulating everything. Now we're not going to have these third-party websites where you can buy MT. Now they're going to have to buy MT from us. And then they realized like, oh, well.
I think they realized how complicated a player market. It's not just you put players in the prices. Like even the screw up of budget cards. Like there should be like the cards below the current meta should be very affordable, and they didn't know how to do that. Like it's complicated. It's not like you snap your fingers and you have a perfectly working play. It's not just like after 3 weeks you have to bring down the cards 10%. Like different cards should be different value. It shouldn't be based on the tier. It should be based on the player. Like there's so many different aspects to go into it that I feel like they didn't realize. So yeah, I can see the auction house coming back. I think it'll be fun to kind of look back on these podcasts like a year from now. This will be my final line. It's like I've said from day one that we won't really fully understand this player market until the end of the year, and I think now we really won't with how chaotic it's been the past couple of weeks. But it'll be funny like next year if they bring back the auction house, even if we're not playing the game, to kind of look back on these videos to see us kind of like because we literally are. We're like test monkeys right now, like week by week figuring out what they're doing. So it's funny if they just after all that hard work being like, oh, we're not doing this again.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to talk about what's going to happen next year more like at a later time, because like who knows, like you were saying, I mean, I'm very confident this is my last MyTeam.
We need to do a full like year recap at some point at the end.
I mean, definitely. I mean, like I'm still playing MyTeam, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and doom and gloom, because one thing that rubs me the wrong way is when people put out videos or, MyTeam posts on subreddit or tweets on Twitter, obviously, complaining about the game, and then they come back and they upload a video like an hour later. It's like I'm frustrated, right, with where the game is right now, but I'm still playing online, like I showed in the video earlier. Like I'm playing these agendas or trying to complete these agendas for Austin Reeves. I played 7 games in salary cap. I won them all. I was having fun playing salary cap. Like I enjoy playing that game mode when I'm not getting matched up against God Squads, obviously. So there still is stuff, like there is still meat on the bone for me to pick out, but the meat is just so limited, you know?
Yeah,
And I hate that.
and that's a really good point. I'll tell you where I'm at, and then we can end the podcast
Sure.
because, like, even though I did make a new account just to kind of screw around and have fun doing something else, I'm still playing 2K. I think that I do this every year, and Jan will attest. Where like I'm super bipolar. Where like I'll enjoy 2K, and then 2K will do me wrong, and then I'll go to Madden or something, and then it's like then I'm far behind on Madden because I joined late, and then I get so fed up with that I go back to 2K, and then I'm far behind on 2K because I left for like a couple. So then it's like it's such a lose lose, and this is like the first year where I realized I'm like I'm not doing that again. If I pick my team, I'm sticking with my team no matter what. So that's where I'm at now. Like I'm not gonna doom or gloom, but it's like this what they've done kind of set in stone that this is my last year playing it. I'm just kind of playing it out just because I've come so far in my team, and I like doing the podcast and I like talking the game with you. But like I've come so far with 2K, like I want to finish off the year. But I'm that doesn't take away from how dissatisfied I am with the game. How I think they're not doing a good job these past couple weeks, and how big how bad it's been. But yeah, so I'm gonna finish off. But like that's where I'm at. Like this kind of guaranteed that I'm really not playing next year, but I am gonna finish it off strong. And we'll listen, we'll keep doing this for the podcast. We'll keep documenting this insane my team experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the most fun things about these pods we do is it almost does serve as a nice way to sort of look back and see, oh, we were so positive, not just at like the end of seasons, but in the case of season 4, we uploaded that podcast right before not right
Literally,
before,
yeah.
I think it was the day after Lunar New Year dropped, right?
It might
I think
have
it was
been,
that
yeah.
Saturday that we recorded, and to think that was probably the peak of my team for us, and then it's been a nosedive over those last few weeks afterwards.
And again, like what DBG said, it makes it that like the All-Star weekend is kind of like the first half of, or signaling into the second half of the NBA season. So it's like we went right into the first half to the second half of the NBA year, like off the rip, right? We went right into like happy, fun, like Disneyland, into like hellhole of like fire and chaoticness and insanity. So it'll be very interesting, like in a month from now, or even the next pod we do, to see what they're doing, and then it'll be like, oh, 126 overall LeBron, and like you know what I mean. It'll be insane. But I'm here for it, so we'll keep talking about it, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, as always, Harry, I really appreciate you getting on, recording this with me. Harry, as always, I'm happy you're feeling better. It was really tough doing the pod without you last week. And I don't know when the next pod is going to be. I mean, as of right now, I'm assuming we'll definitely...
Oh, you know what? If we get 100 overall LeBron, we have to do a pod. We have to ship all over that.
Pod.
So
well,
maybe
I am going to be free,
weekend.
I think, next Saturday, potentially. So if I am, and we get a LeBron, we'll definitely do a pod so I can gloat for like 60 seconds that I was right, and then we can, just totally trash on the game.
At that point, you'll have like 10 million MT. You still won't be able to get 100 overall LeBron.
Come on.
Or
I'll probably be at like 4.2, but the fact that I can even sit now at 4.2 million it's sad. Like I'm at 4.2 million because I have nothing to spend it on and don't say packs. So
yeah, 2K was like, you know what, you're gonna be frugal with your MT. We're just not gonna give you any people to buy.
I know. It's
Jan is not gonna buy. I blame you. They're like, you know what, Jan is not gonna buy players no matter who we give. So you might as well just make them packs only. Well, so we can make money.
Yeah, I'll just sell my Jan Moses account for like $5 in June. That's what I'll do.
Right.
But yeah, Harry, as always, I appreciate you. Thank you for freeing up some time for me, and maybe we'll see you guys next Friday. If not, definitely sometime in the next month we'll get another podcast out. So until next time, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the support here on the Brought This Indie channel, and we'll see you later.